Everyone will have eyes on it and they'll try to destroy it. If you have something valuable, what do you have to do? You have to protect it. Something that is valuable in Islam, you have to protect it. It's not only in Islam, in the world. So if you have something valuable, which is your faith, you have to protect it. It is not a guarantee. We are not like those ones, oh, I'm saved. I just accept with your heart, I'm saved. And his blood is going to redeem us, and we go straight to paradise. What kind of foolishness is that? We bring the fire to hell. There's no fire in hell. We bring the fire to Jahannam. Paradise is empty. We built the paradise. So the faith that we have does not enter into love. Faith that we have, it has to be protected. It cannot be taken for granted. That's why we're making zikr. Because Prophet ﷺ is saying, "O my nation, renew your shahadat." Because your shahadat gets old, it gets corrupt, it gets broken, so you have to renew it. That's why we are making the shahadat over and over again. And only shaitans are going to stop us from saying the shahadat, from saying La ilaha illallah, from giving praises to the Prophet ﷺ. They're saying this is bid'at. The whole aim of 124,000 prophets is for mankind to say La ilaha illallah. So now you have to protect that. You don't take it for granted. We're Muslims. We don't take it for granted. Say, well, are you a Muslim? Alhamdulillah. I'm going to go to Jannat. No. Like I said, Jannat is empty. What are you going to bring there to Jannat? Hell is empty. You're going to bring your own fire there to hell. So you have to protect it. Your faith you have to protect. We're following a shaykh. We have a love for our shaykh. We have to protect it. We cannot take it for granted. Anything that has value, it has to be protected. And anything that has value, you have to, time and time again, you have to take a look at it and you have to test it. You have to see whether the value is still there or not. Isn't it? There has to be a gauge. Especially, like I said before, so many people say, oh, I love you, Shaykh, I love you, Shaykh, I love you, Shaykh. And later, they change their minds. I love you, Shaykh, I'm going to die for you. And they're still alive. And they're gone. They're no longer there. So, be careful. This is yesterday's sohbat, isn't it? Isn't it? Be careful what you say. Be careful what you claim. Be careful what witnesses you have around you to say, yes, I'm ready to take any order. Then the order is given. And you say, well, I cannot because of this, because of that. This is yesterday's sohbat that we gave. So, but you have to protect it now. If you don't protect it, it will be harmed. If you don't protect it, it will get corrupt. Because you take one step in the way of Allah, there are 70,000 shaitans waiting for you. Now if you say, I'm going to love an awliya Allah, you think your ego is not going to go crazy? You think shaitan is not going to go crazy? You think the ego is not going to go crazy? You think dunya is not going to go crazy? They're all going to go crazy. They're going to try very hard to stop you from having that love, or keeping that love, or making that love to grow. Because it's easy to say, it's easy to claim. But man is tied up. In the judgment day, so many will come, and their tongues are going to be circling around their neck. They are choked by their tongue. They are dragged by their tongue because they say, they claim, but they don't mean it. They claim, but there is no proof of that. They claim, but they do the opposite. And you say, You have witnesses, it's even more difficult now that time. So now, what do we take lesson from that incident? Take lesson that whatever we feel, which is good. I'm not stopping anyone from saying, I love you, Shaykh Effendi. I'm not stopping anyone to say, I love Allah and I love the Prophet ﷺ. But check yourself to see whether that claim is true or not. If you don't, it's just empty words. Then that time you're not a believer. You become what? Someone who changes his mind, changes his heart whenever he feels like it. There's a word for that. That is called a munafiq. May Allah protect us from that. And yes, we're in tariqat to make our faith a reality, not just something that we claim, to live, to experience that. To experience La ilaha illallah, not just to say La ilaha illallah, to experience there is no ilah except for Allah. You understand now? The shahadat is not saying Allah, La ilaha. It says La ilaha illallah. In the Naqshbandi way, we don't say Allah first. We get rid of the ilahs before we do. You understand? We concentrate on the ilahs that is false. We don't have to concentrate on Allah. How are you going to concentrate to get rid of the ilahs? That is what sohbat is. That is what a shaykh is. That is what understanding what the enemies, your enemies, the dunya, shaitan, hawa, nafs, these are the ilahs. Anger, jealousy, stubbornness, and arrogance, these are the ilahs. What are the ilahs? What are the gods that you put in your heart, that you are busy with, that you're obsessed with, that you have no time to think about your Lord? Get rid of that. La ilaha. Then illallah. So this tariqat is to realize and experience the shahada. How are we going to do that? Not through your own way or my way or anyone's way, but through the way of the Prophet ﷺ. And that's the second part of the shahada. If you are going to try to get rid of your ilahs using any other method, is not accepted. You understand? So many people also speak about the egos, correct? So many different traditions also speak about the egos. That is true. But now the best way, and the only way that is accepted in the divine presence, that is the most perfect way, is the way of the Prophet ﷺ, the most perfect human being and the most perfect prophet, the most perfect example. That you take his example, then that time you will realize how to get rid of your ilahs, and you will then, that time, put Allah in your heart. So protect your faith. First, understand what are the enemies. Then build your defenses according to that. If you don't understand your enemies, and you're just building a fortress, without understanding who the enemies are, that fortress may not be relevant to who the enemy is. You think the enemy is going to be 100 people, so you're building a fortress to protect, but the enemy is coming with 10,000. You put a protection. Protection means nothing now. So you have to understand who you're dealing with. You have to understand that. You have to understand who you're dealing with. And we're here to understand the greatest enemy is the nafs, our nafs, yours and mine. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in us, and how for us to put that nafs under our feet, to control that nafs. That is what sohbat, that is what association, that is what being with the shaykh is important. Because you don't know, you don't realize. You think it is just a habit, but it is coming from your nafs, and it's a bad habit. You are stuck now. Because you're not looking at the example of the Prophet ﷺ. You're looking at the example of the Prophet ﷺ through your own eyes. Don't look through your own eyes. Look through the eyes of your Shaykh. That's the time you're going to see. If you use your own eyes, why you follow a Shaykh then? Why you follow? We don't want to use our own eyes. We don't want to use our own tongue. We don't want to use our own hands. You know where I'm going with this? Yes. You don't want to use your own feet. You want to use the eyes and the tongue and the hands and the feet of your Shaykh, of the Prophet of Allah. Oh, Hoja is talking about shirk. This is Hadith Qudsi, bruh. Empty heads. When you come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by what? Doing things that are not obligations. He didn't put order to you, but your own spirit is saying, I have to do it. Are you placing some restrictions on yourself? You're placing some burdens on yourself. You're placing some strictness to yourself, because anything that is worth having requires discipline. Anything that is valuable, you have to put strictness, you have to put discipline, you have to put heaviness, some burden in it in order to get it, no? Easy come, easy go. So when you do that, Allah is saying, my servant then draws near to me. When he draws near to me, I will become his eyes that he sees, his tongue that he speaks, his hands that he touches, his feet that he walks with. I will dress him with Rabbaniyat. He will be Rabbani. Then that time, if your will, you have surrendered to the will of Allah, and Allah then says, my will has replaced his will, then that time, yes, you act with the will of Allah and things can happen. Things will happen. Understand? This is open to everyone. But there is a price. So, we take lesson from that. Don't take your faith for granted. Don't take your love for tariqat for granted. Don't take this tariqat. Don't take nothing for granted. Don't take your shaykh for granted. Protect it. Protect it like it will be stolen from you at any time. And look out for the enemy within that is going to sabotage, that is going to hurt that love. The shaykh is nice to you, everything is good, everything is fine, you are happy, but once he squeezes you a little bit because of your own fault, then your heart starts changing. He squeezes you more, then you start hating. He squeezes you more, then that time you betray. Shaykh is not our friend, he's not a buddy. He trains you. He washes you up. He cleans you. Alhamdulillah, we have found that Shaykh. And he is with us. May Allah bless him and bless our grand Shaykh, and may they send their support to us until we die. May Allah forgive me and bless you. Al-Fatiha.